Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
Hey you guys! Thanks for joining us on another journey.
In this week's Romanian travel vlog, we showcase some of the best things to do in FAGARAS, Romania.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey.
If I will ever figure out where the road goes, even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
In the morning time, we got up early and actually got to the fortress before it was even open to the public. But just standing out front, looking across this mirrored background of the church was just amazing.
I feel like it's one of the best photographs I took while I was there. Built in 1310 on the site of a former 12th century wooden fortress, which was burned by the Tartars in 1241, FAGARAS was enlarged between the 15th and 17th centuries and considered one of the strongest fortifications in Transylvania.
Which is crazy because this one's on flat ground.
The fortress was surrounded by a deep moat, which in times of war or social unrest could easily be filled with water from a nearby mountain brook. A bridge over the moat provided the only access point, and the fortress has 3 floors and 5 towers. Fun fact, the fortress is surrounded by 2 rows of walls. The space between them is filled with the earth, so the end result is one sturdy 8-meter thick wall, which is about 27 feet thick.
Oh my goodness.
Throughout the years, FAGARAS Fortress functioned mainly as a residence for various princes and their families. Transylvanian Prince Gabriel Bethlen, who was strongly influenced by the Italian Renaissance, brought architects and glassmakers from Italy who rebuilt the fortress, bestowing elegance and beauty to the construction. And that is one thing that is true about this fortress. I felt it did seem to have a bit more flair compared to the others that we visited.
Yeah, it was almost palace-like.
Yeah.
In some parts of it.
But that's due to a lot of restoration. During the rule of George, starts with an R, I'm not going to even try and pronounce it, the castle's fortification were doubled and the moat was enlarged. He had the bastions bridged and covered, the moat paved with stones, the bridge and the castmates repaired, and a guardhouse built. Records show that the interior must have been luxurious in the 17th century. They say that unfortunately little of its former grandeur has been preserved. The castle was deprived of its decorations and fancy furniture when it was turned into a military garrison in the 18th century. Here's another fun fact. In 1948, the FAGARAS fortress was taken over by the communists and made a dreadful political prison.
Oh, I bet it was dreadful.
But since 1954, the castle has housed the museum, which, and as we've said before, we're not much of museum type people, but this was really impressive. This was worth the, 15 lev a person to get in?
Oh yeah, that's only, $3.49 a person or something like that.
The museum has Roman artifacts, a collection of medieval weapons, ethnographic sections which focus on the artistic and folk crafts in the area, and also a beautiful collection of those glass painted icons. I don't know if you remember those.
I remember the swords were really cool.
You don't remember the glass painted icons? I do, but I like glass painting and the stained glass. There's a total of 85 rooms, one of them being the torture chamber, which still preserves the most infamous, but most likely never actually used, torture instrument in Europe, called the Iron Maiden.
Put them in the Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden? Excellent!
Execute them. Burgess.
Not the band.
During the restoration works, a tunnel was actually discovered. along with a disturbing historical fact. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
In the old days, the criminals and traitors sentenced to death were buried inside the fortress walls.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy. To be outside, stuck in this thing was, just for a couple seconds, was enough torture for me. That claustrophobia kicks in quick. I could only imagine when people throwing tomatoes or whatever, food. I don't know if that's how they really did it. Maybe that's just the movies. But, you know, the means of torture were insane.
How did they think these things up, though? That's what I want to know. What is your opinion?
Comment below.
Yes, please. Some of these images is just mind-blowing. Like, wow.
Yeah, like sawing somebody upside down in half while they're alive, or pulling them apart.
Like, who came up with these things? These methods and these instruments?
Yeah, it'd be one thing just to be taken out back and hung, but here, sit on this chair of spikes.
For not being museum people, we really enjoyed FAGARAS.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think it was my favorite, which I referenced in last week's video at Rashnov.
Card above. I think what was cool about this fortress is the fact that it had been restored in parts, but not overly done. So there was a lot of spots that were still very natural, or seemed to be natural. If they have been restored, I'd be surprised. But it was nice to walk around all over the fortress as well.
Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
We got a place to stay for the night through Booking.com. See our discount link below. It gives you a huge discount and it benefits our growth with the channel. The place we stayed in had the hotel part upstairs and this amazing bakery downstairs.
How much did we pay for the Booking.com?
It was 163 Romanian lev, which is about
$37 US. That's a bargain, because this place is super nice. You could get a pastry and a coffee.
Mm-hmm. They wanted you to try those things because
they're amazing.
Hook, line, and sinker.
April couldn't stop at one.
Of course not. And that's in big part because they're not as sweet as these U.S.
pastries at all, but they're so much better. But the really cool thing about this place is the fact that it's about a 10-minute walk to FAGARAS Fortress. We stopped while we were walking through town to talk to some of the local people at the church. They were dressed up in traditional garments. Tried talking them into giving us a performance, but they said no. Probably good since I don't have any sound, since I lost my microphone anyway.
The church is definitely cool looking architecturally speaking, especially with the sunlight glistening on it, like the reflection in the moat at the fortress.
And of course, you know, I had to fly the drone over it. Whenever you see a line of people out a door of a restaurant, that's the place you want to eat. And we did absolutely that. We stood
waited
in line
for quite some time,
yeah,
but
it was a while.
It was well worth it. We got a shawarma and a kebab and OMG.
I think it was a kebab sandwich.
Yeah.
It was huge. This thing could feed a small country.
It was so good. So tasty.
Fresh. Yeah. She cut it right there, put all the ingredients on it. They don't have anywhere to eat, sit down and eat, but I'll tell you what, we went across the street at the church again. They had some a little park, so we sat in there. And
we highly recommend this place too.
if you get a chance to come to Romania, I highly suggest it. Super affordable vacation. We want to thank you guys for watching our video all the way to the end. If you would, hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and like always, thank you
for living life.
It's a